Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Bidur Kathuria. Let's get started. US President Donald Trump has threatened to restrict federal funds for New York City if Democratic mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani wins the election. On Truth Social, Trump said it's unlikely he'd provide funds beyond the minimum, preferring a Democrat with a proven track record. Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One, Trump once again labeled Mamdani a communist. In response, Mamdani urged New Yorkers at his final campaign rally to stand up to bullies. The United States is reportedly pressuring Israel to allow the safe passage of around 200 Hamas operatives hiding in tunnels beneath IDF-controlled areas of southern Gaza. According to Channel 12, Washington is pushing for this move as part of efforts to advance the next stage of a ceasefire framework, which is based on President Trump's 20-point plan. Armed Hamas militants and International Committee of the Red Cross vehicles in Gaza's Shujaiya district are waiting to cross the yellow line. This line marks the boundary where Israeli troops pulled back and remain stationed under the ceasefire agreement with Hamas. The Israeli Defense Forces report killing 2 Hezbollah operatives in separate airstrikes in southern Lebanon earlier today. The first strike in the Nabatea area targeted Mohammed Ali Hadid, a commander in Hezbollah's elite Radwan force. The IDF says Hadid was responsible for multiple terror attacks against Israel and had recently attempted to rebuild Hezbollah's terror infrastructure. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has announced that the country will establish arms export offices and joint weapons production centers in Berlin and Copenhagen by the end of the year. He mentioned that naval drones and artillery systems could be among the weapons Kyiv exports. Zelensky also noted Russia was amassing troops near Dobropilya, where Ukraine had previously made gains in a counter-offensive, and that Ukrainian forces in Pokrovsk were facing intense pressure with around 300 Russian troops still in the city. A Ukrainian military drone has captured footage showing extensive destruction in the embattled city of Pokrovsk, a key target in Russia's ongoing offensive in eastern Ukraine. Russia claims to have made advances in the city, while Ukraine insists its forces are still holding strong, despite intense fighting and harsh conditions. The city, a major transport hub, has been under relentless bombardment for months, with both sides accusing each other of escalating the violence. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that he received a very good signal from the European Union regarding Kyiv's bid to join the bloc and additional support for Ukraine's energy sector. On the battlefield, Zelensky has reported that Ukrainian forces are battling several hundred Russian troops who entered the eastern stronghold of Pokrovsk, as well as 60 Russian soldiers who infiltrated Kupiansk. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman will visit the White House on November 18th for an official meeting with US President Donald Trump. The visit comes as Trump pressures Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords, a series of agreements aimed at normalizing relations between Arab nations and Israel. While the UAE, Bahrain, Sudan and Morocco signed on in 2020, Saudi Arabia has been hesitant, citing the lack of progress on Palestinian statehood as a key issue. The Trump administration has allocated $450 million in tariff revenue to support the Childhood Nutrition Program, which was at risk due to the ongoing federal shutdown. The shutdown, now in its 34th day, has threatened benefits for nearly 7 million low-income Americans, including pregnant women, breastfeeding mothers, and children under the age of 5. The funds transferred to Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants and Children, known as WIC, will cover about 3 weeks of benefits and were drawn from tariff revenue designated to the U.S. Department of Agriculture assistance. California Governor Gavin Newsom says a measure on Tuesday's election ballot to redraw U.S. House maps isn't about drawing lines, but about standing up to a bully. The proposal seeks to create partisan U.S. House maps, bypassing the independent commission that handles redistricting every decade. Newsom, a Democrat, is backing the measure to counter a Trump-supported plan in Texas aimed at gaining 5 additional Republican seats. Detroit voters head to the polls to choose a new mayor in the city's first open seat race in 12 years. City Council President Mary Sheffield and Triumph Kinloch, both Democrats, will compete after securing the top 2 spots in the August 5th primary. The winner will succeed 3-term Mayor Mike Duggan, who is stepping down to run for governor of Michigan as an independent. Peru's government has announced that it has cut diplomatic ties with Mexico after the Mexican government granted asylum to former Prime Minister Betsy Chavez. Chavez is under investigation for her alleged involvement in the 2022 coup attempt by former President Pedro Castillo. Foreign Minister Hugo de Zela expressed surprise and regret, calling Mexico's action an unfriendly act. He also cited repeated interference by Mexico's current and former presidents in Peru's internal affairs as a reason for the severed ties. Peruvian President Jose Jerry has reaffirmed his commitment to a security overhaul, meeting with top military and police officials. He also signed a new security bill aimed at reducing extortion against transport companies and drivers. The bill includes measures to freeze bank accounts linked to past crimes, investigate suspicious hauling companies, and create a national registry of vulnerable industries. The move is part of ongoing efforts to improve public safety and combat organized crime. During a visit to Loire, French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot has called on the warring parties in Sudan to immediately implement a ceasefire. His appeal comes amid a growing humanitarian crisis as tens of thousands of civilians have been forced to flee the ongoing conflict in North Kordofan state. Barrot also condemned the sale of sex dolls on the Asian retail giant Shein's website, describing the practice as unacceptable. Shein, the Asian e-commerce giant, has announced that it is banning the sale of all sex dolls worldwide. This comes after French authorities warned it about products resembling children. The company stated it has imposed a total ban on sex doll-type products and removed all related listings and images. The military commander who has led Guinea since a coup 4 years ago has thrown his hat into the presidential race, breaking an earlier promise to transfer power to a civilian government. Colonel Mamdani Doumbouya filed his candidacy at the Supreme Court without making any public comment. Meanwhile, 2 of the country's main opposition parties, RPGR-CL and UFDG, have been barred from participating in December's election. raising serious questions about the credibility of the vote. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier has announced that Germany would provide 65 million euros, which is approximately $69 million in development assistance to Ghana. This funding is aimed at helping Ghana progress in key areas such as renewable energy, industrialization, and digital transformation. The support will help accelerate the country's transition to more sustainable energy sources, boost its industrial sector, and enhance its digital infrastructure, all of which are vital for Ghana's long-term economic growth and modernization. Brazilian President Lula da Silva visited the Itacao Miri Quilombola community in the Amazon as part of a two-day tour of Para-State ahead of the COP30 climate summit in Belém. During his visit, Lula also stopped at the São José Municipal Rural School, where he reviewed federal projects focused on improving infrastructure and social programs in the region. Powerful typhoon Kalmaegi has made landfall in the Philippines, triggering torrential floods in Cebu City. In a residential area, floodwaters quickly swept away vehicles, causing widespread damage. Residents are struggling to cope with the aftermath of the storm. Authorities are assessing the damage while rescue efforts are underway to assist those affected by the flooding. Denmark has launched one of Europe's few low-carbon hydrogen plants, a sector seen as crucial for cleaner energy, but one facing significant challenges. While hydrogen only produces water vapor when burned, unlike fossil fuels that emit carbon, its production has been slow to scale up, with many projects either delayed or abandoned. The Jamaican government has announced that the death toll from Hurricane Melissa has risen to 32 and is expected to climb further. Crews are still working to reach 25 isolated areas in western Jamaica where access remains difficult. Helicopters are being used to deliver food and aid to these hard-hit regions as rescue efforts continue. Boxes of rice, lentils, and canned fish and meat have arrived in the Caribbean. The World Food Programme estimates that at least 5 million people are in need of aid. The Category 5 storm, which made landfall in southwestern Jamaica last week, was the country's strongest ever hurricane and the first major one since 1988. The French armed forces have released images showing humanitarian aid being unloaded from a French Navy ship at Kingston Port in Jamaica. The aid is part of the ongoing response to Hurricane Melissa. According to France's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, 40 tons of aid were delivered, with half donated by the UN, including emergency supplies from the World Food Programme. The ship was deployed from the French West Indies to assist with relief efforts. OpenAI has signed a 7-year, $38 billion deal to buy cloud services from Amazon.com in its first big push to power its AI ambitions after a restructuring last week that gave the ChatGPT maker greater operational and financial freedom. The deal will give OpenAI access to hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA graphics processors to train and run its artificial intelligence models, as CEO Sam Altman targets building 30 gigawatts of computing capacity, enough to power 25 million US homes. OpenAI will start using AWS immediately, with full capacity expected by 2026 and expansion planned beyond 2027. Verizon, a telecommunication company, announced a deal with Amazon Web Services to build high-capacity fiber routes connecting AWS data centers, aiming to strengthen infrastructure to the next generation of artificial intelligence applications. Under the Verizon AI Connect agreement, the telecom giant will construct long-haul, low-latency fiber pathways to enhance the performance and reliability of AI workloads running on AWS cloud. The new agreement deepens Verizon's long-standing strategic relationship with AWS, which already includes joint work on private mobile edge computing and Verizon's adoption of AWS as a preferred cloud provider. YouTube TV has proposed restoring Disney's ABC and ESPN networks in response to the entertainment giant's earlier request to bring back ABC to the pay TV platform for Election Day coverage. Disney has earlier asked Google's YouTube TV to restore ABC for Election Day coverage in service of public interest, just days after its networks went dark on the pay TV platform. YouTube said that Disney can continue to live stream news on the ABC News YouTube page, and ABC local stations can do so on their YouTube pages. Disney's networks went dark on YouTube TV after negotiations to reach a licensing deal failed. The US federal government shutdown has entered its 34th day, halting many services and paychecks as lawmakers struggle over $1.7 trillion in discretionary funding. But for the first time, senior Senate Republicans and Democrats are sounding cautiously optimistic they may be nearing a deal. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said he's optimistic, but don't push it, while Senate Democrat Dick Durbin echoed the sentiment, though he warned major healthcare issues still loom. Although some bipartisan moderates are floating compromise plans, the risk remains high for a collapse in talks. A turning point may be near, but nothing is resolved yet. Fed Governor Lisa Cook says December is still a live meeting, meaning a third straight rate cut has not been ruled out. But she stressed the decision will depend entirely on incoming data. The problem is the government shutdown has blocked most official economic releases, so the Fed will now lean more on private surveys and alternative data to judge the economy. Cook says the balancing act remains tricky. Inflation risks are still there, but the danger to jobs is rising fast. Oil prices were flat early Tuesday, with Brent at about $64 and US crude near $60 after OPEC Plus agreed to pause output hikes in the first quarter, a move seen as an attempt to avoid a deeper price slide. The group has added nearly 3 million barrels a day since April, and analysts say the slower pace reflects growing oversupply concerns. Russia pushed for the pause because sanctions are limiting its ability to export more crude. Still, some European majors and US officials say demand remains strong and argue talk of a glut is overstated. Traders now turn to US inventory numbers due later today to guide the next move. Asia-Pacific markets were mixed Tuesday, not fully following Wall Street's tech rally. Amazon's $38 billion OpenAI deal lifted sentiment in the US, and Nvidia got a boost after securing export licenses to ship chips to the UAE. But regionally, Australia's ASX fell ahead of the RBA decision. South Korea's Kospi dropped sharply, and Japan's Nikkei was barely higher. Hong Kong's Hang Seng was modestly in the green, while Shanghai was flat. Investors here in Asia are now watching local central bank moves, while the US rally remains driven primarily by mega cap tech. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will host India's Women's World Cup winning team in New Delhi on November 5th. The Harmanpreet Kaur-led side made history on Sunday. They defeated South Africa to win their first ever World Cup title. Prime Minister Modi praised the players, calling the triumph a symbol of India's daughters' growing confidence and strength.